Ryan Marin.
Hey Nick, how you doing, man?
Ryan, what's up, bro?
Still working every day. So I had some calls this morning, some closing calls this morning.
Good for you, bro. Tell everyone where you're at. I know you've been on, it's been a while, but you've been on before. And we've grown immensely in this group. We got a lot of new faces. Tell everyone where you're at right now, because last time we talked, it's not the same place. Where are you at right now?
Location wise?
Yes.
Or location wise. So I'm in Sarasota, Florida now. I was originally in Chicago area. But yeah, I moved my family down here about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
I love it, dude. So Ryan Marin. Okay, guys. I'm gonna get in, and this is gonna be a fun one, and I'm gonna tie everything together. Ryan, tell everyone kind of just start off really quick. Where are you at with your business? How much money are you making as of last month or this month?
Yeah, so last month in March, I did 23,000 for the month for March, which was my biggest month so far since starting.
I love it, dude. So $23,000. That ain't bad, bro. I freaking love that, dude. Imagine when you first started this business. I'm not sure if I remember exactly what you were doing, but imagine if somebody would have told you you'd make $20,000 a month one day, you'd be like, yeah, it's probably possible, but not me, dude. There's no way. That seems like way too much. That seems way too crazy, right? Like, it's insane.
Yeah, definitely. And I've done all of this. I'm actually still working full time on top of it. So I'm a purchasing manager for a telecommunications company. So I do that on top of all of this. And to be able to get that far with, if I was doing this full time, the sky's the limit, And really, I've made a lot of improvements, and moving forward this year, I've sent a lot of clients so far this year compared to last year. Because I don't remember that the call that we had last time. I had all sorts of ad issues, and so last year wasn't the greatest year. But at the end of the year, I started making hay, and then this year I've just been crushing it.
I love that, dude. So tell everyone the thing that's interesting about your story, dude, is you have been in the game for a minute, and although you were making some money, you weren't like Ryan Dalton. You're more like I was, where there was some struggling in the beginning. There was some, trying to figure this out, trying to figure out that. How long did it take you to get to, that 10K mark from when you started?
Well, it depends on how you look at it, because I started in 2019 technically with JK. So when I started in 2019, and to get started, I took out a loan in order to even get into it, which is kind of what I posted the other day, is about, putting your back against the wall. And like, after I started with JK, I went really hard. The problem with that process though is I built all these websites. So at one point I had 48 websites and I had no paying clients. So I was just taking a loss month in, month out. So by the time I actually got to 10K a month, technically I was at about $9,000, and that was from organic leads in 2020. That's what I was hitting per month. And then last year is when I really hit the 10K mark.
Love it, dude.
So, and that was really all from going through your process. This process is by far the best process out of anything. And one thing that I've done is I've learned a lot about SEO. And kind of just like I posted on there is like, I never realized it's all about the sales. If you're not selling anything, you're not making any money. I don't care how smart you are with SEO and all this stuff and learning how to build WordPress websites and all this. It's not going to be money if you're not selling to someone.
So to clarify, you're saying that it might not be a great idea to just build 100 websites like I did and hope that they sell. Look, guys, I understand where people are coming from when they say go build websites, because you need to have websites to sell, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? Not when you can pre-sell them. That's when that whole game changed,
exactly.
Right? Because if you can pre-sell, you don't actually, you know what it is? It's kind of like the old, like back in the day with clothing companies or let's say clothing companies, right? You had to have a stock of inventory, right? Because once you ran out of t-shirts, you were screwed. And then even if people wanted to give you money, they couldn't, right? That was what people would say. But then along came something called drop shipping, where you could literally just order, and it's basically print on demand, and you didn't have to keep any inventory, right? They could just order and it goes right out to them. It's the same thing, right? You no longer need inventory sitting there accruing monthly costs, especially when you don't even know if it's going to rank. Even if it ranks, you don't know if it's going to produce leads. Even if it produces leads, you don't know if there's going to be a business owner that even wants those leads. So anyway, guys, I've been preaching this for years. Well, not years, but months. And I think people are just think I'm trying to, put a plug for my process. It's like, guys, if I told you you could use somebody else's money to buy a home and still make a profit, or you could use your own cash and you would have to wait 6 months before you could even think about renting it out, which one would you choose? And don't give me some dumbass answer. Every single one of you guys would choose to use someone else's money. It's a no-brainer. So I went through a similar thing, dude, Ryan. I built and I built and I built, and I thought the answer was just, I got to build more. I got to build more. I know that Jerry Ward, he built 800 websites because he took the same advice. 800 websites, dude. Can you imagine?
Just the time alone to be able to build that many websites, I said, I'm a very aggressive person. So like when I started, I do still believe in shoes on the shelf, right? Have more shoes on the shelf, more opportunities. But instead of doing it that way, where you're sitting and waiting on it, is pre-selling, have those shoes on the shelf where they're only on the shelf for like a week, right?
Yep.
Compared to putting inventory on the shelf that just sits there for months and months and months and might never even sell, and then you throw the inventory in the garbage.
It's almost like instead of having clothing on racks sitting in collecting dust, you have 4 or 5 products on a website that people can then choose from and order immediately. It's the difference, right? You don't have to sit there and accrue the costs and pay for the inventory. So anyway, guys, I think everyone in this group or that's watching this call, if you guys are even semi-intelligent, you can see that there is no reason that you should be waiting on websites to rank. That is what we would call the wheelchair method. That's what MJ DeMarco talks about when he says the slow lane. That's the slow lane, dude. That's the rowboat versus the McGregor Lamborghini yacht. So it's your choice, though. If you like going slow, then that's fine. Dude, I want to talk about this, though, bro. So you have been able, the reason I hit up Ryan is because he made a really cool post inside of our Digital Landlords group recently. And he's like, dude, I'm sitting here and I just barely got done doing some calls, whatever. And it's a picture of his desk and he's got the pool in the background and he's in Florida and he just has a really cool setup. And I want to talk about that. How cool has that been for you to be able to literally put your family in a position where they can go and enjoy those type of things? Like I know you have bigger goals and you want to make more money than you're currently at, but dude, you are literally living an incredible life with freedom, and you're living where you want to live, and you have beautiful weather, and you have a swimming pool, and your kid, like, what's that like? And I mean, how does it feel to I'm not fishing for an answer, but like, how good does that feel to know that you've been able to provide that life, dude?
No, it's amazing. And that's like why I made the whole post, because me and my wife, we just moved recently into this much bigger house. We moved down to Sarasota back in 2021, and we were in a small house, 1,400 square feet. We had a pool, a little lanai area, and then we ended up getting this house because we can afford it now. So now we have this house that's 3,000 square feet ranch, 14-foot ceiling, nice pool. And it was funny, the night that we moved in, so we just moved in a week and a half ago. And when we moved in, I was sitting there talking to my wife, and I was like, we would never be able to afford this off of my salary. So my wife stays at home, she watches the kids and everything. Awesome. And there's no way we could have afforded this house without being where I'm at with my business. And 95% of it is all because I joined Digital Landlords. I mean, without that, and that's why I made the shout out to you, because without ever meeting you, I don't think I would ever be at this part of the process. And you know what's really funny? Like I said, so I started JK back in 2019, and again, I'm very aggressive. And there's the go fast, look sexy part that Dan Klein has in his training. If anybody's in the JK training, and the very first thing I did was I started up this, in my local town back in Illinois. I started up a house cleaning business. I started running ads. I signed a client 1 week after joining JK. I signed a client for $800 a month. I was like, this is it. This is amazing. It was phenomenal. But I was running ads and I only signed it house cleaning. Really bad niche to get into unless it's organic. I was spending $800 a month. I wasn't making any money. And so I had this client and I'm like, this is great. All I got to do is rank this website. By the time the site ranked, the client was gone at that point. But the moral of the story that I'm going with is I already knew about this process. I just didn't know about the exact steps to use it. So after that happened with her, I stopped running ads. I didn't do any more ads. I was like, I'm going to just put shoes on the shelf, wait for them to rank. Took over a year before I signed another client. And then I signed a couple of clients, 48 websites, 9 total clients that were paying around $8 per month.
Dude, you just made me think of, I have to share just a piece of this. So, guys, let me make sure that this is if I remember this correctly. Hold on, Ryan, this is hilarious. I'm almost there. Okay. Here we go. So, dude, this is what's so funny, Ryan. Well, first of all, you hit me up back in August before I even started the program or the free group, dude. Looks like we had seen each other in another group. Anyway, so here's what's funny about Ryan, dude. Ryan was actually, this shows how far you've come, dude. When we launched the program, do you remember you were on the initial launch? And you were like one of the only people that didn't join. And I hit you up after and I was like, bro, where are you at, dude? And you were like, man, I really want to join, but I just can't swing what you're asking, whatever. And anyway, we ended up working something out. I got you in. Imagine that's where you were at that point, bro. You were like, I remember you were like, I have this check coming in, blah, blah, blah. And now you've been able to move into a new house with the bigger pool and everything. So I just wanted to make a note, like, dude, you've come a long way. And it's been really fun for me to see, like, nothing. I think people get this wrong and they think like, I don't care or whatever. It's like, guys, the greatest thing that somebody could do for me, well, and thank you for that post, is have success. The greatest marketing that I could do for anything, whether it's my lead gen sites, whether it's my program, is to have my clients making money, to have them have success. And I got this advice from somebody that's a bit of a mentor to me. And they said, you know what the best marketing is? It's not Facebook. It's not this. It's not the Forbes article. It's getting your clients results. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And he said, because when you do that, everything else becomes easier. Your marketing's easier, your ads are easier, your this is easier, your this. I'm like, you know what? That's right. So my focus since that day has shifted on how do I get people results? And sometimes that means doing things that aren't scalable. Sometimes that means sending messages for 2 hours to clients that you got paid on 3 years ago and haven't made $1 on. So just remember that, guys. It's about making your clients money. If you can get them results, they will be with you forever. So Ryan, tell me what the biggest shift for you was between, 10 grand, whatever, to basically 2.5xing it over the last year or so. Like, what changed, dude? Did you just say, hey, I'm sick and tired of eke and buy?
No, I mean, in all reality, it's been since like the beginning of this year, towards the end of last year. You started that the 10K, whatever, the 10K club, where It's like get the 10K as fast as possible, I think in October of last year. And that's where I was like, I really need to get focused on this. Because obviously I said I have a full-time job, so I've always focused on mainly that. And then just like in the evenings, I was kind of, chilling out. That was good, right? And that's one thing like I posted on there is like I got complacent, right? So I'm good. I could pay all my bills. my family's happy. There's no reason to grow any further. And that's probably like one of the worst things, like mindset wise, that will set you back. Because then once you get comfortable, then you're not going to go any further. And that's kind of, I think that's what really helped me out. First of all, with when I originally started in 2019 and how I got my first few clients. And then when I joined with you, like I said, when I joined with you, at the time I couldn't afford whatever it was, whatever the price was that we were doing it. I was like, I just can't justify paying this right now. I don't want to take on any more loans like I did before. And so we ended up working something out. I'm like, all right, I can do this over a couple months because I had a check and everything coming in. And the thing is it kind of put my back against the wall. And that's one thing that I posted on there is like, man, when you're at your absolute peak and you're doing your absolute best, is when you don't have a choice. You have no choice but to succeed, right? And that's how I've done so well. And given like last year, like I said, at the beginning of the year, I had a lot of ad issues. Middle of the year, I partnered with somebody. I think that somebody's actually in this group. Didn't really work out. We just weren't on the same page, and we split apart. So I kind of wasted, like, right now is like the prime time for lead gen, right? It's April through like October. Man, you should be crushing it and signing clients like crazy. And what's weird about that is at the beginning of this year. So last year at the end of the year, I think I signed 4 clients in October and December. And at the end of the year, everybody does it where you make like, right, your resolution. Next year, I'm going to do this, and so on and so forth. Even just like I posted in there. And that's all good and great, and you have this plan, but the problem is like after a week or two, or maybe 3 weeks, even a month, it just starts kind of fading. Just like with like weight loss goals or like working out and things like that, it doesn't become a priority anymore, right? It's very mundane, and before you know it, it's February, and all those plans that you made in December are gone. Just like I posted on there, what I've been doing this year is literally every single day I wake up and I just say today's New Year's Day. Every single day, like literally, I wake up. First thing I tell myself is today's the first day, day 1 today. And by doing that, it's making me go through, and I have like this notepad. I recommend everybody. I know you have like a little pad. I have a pad where I put down all the stuff that I have to do for that day to move the needle forward. And if I do that every single day, before you know it, it's all going to compound and things are going to work out and you're going to continue growing. So my goal this year, the goal that I set, I didn't set a financial goal. I didn't set a goal of clients. I do have it in the back of my head. But the goal that I set at the end of the year last year is to do every single day throughout 2023 as that today is day 1 and act like today's day 1. And by doing that, my mind's every morning I'm fresh, I'm ready to go, and I know exactly what steps I have to take. And before I know it, it just continues growing and growing and growing. Instead of, again, where before you would get complacent or things have become mundane, where it's like, hey, you had these goals, but they kind of just fade because you don't think about them anymore. Now it's the middle of the year, you had Easter, all of a sudden life just catches up and you stop working on what your actual goals were.
So true, dude. What I want to hit on real quick what you just said about having your back against the wall, because I've been there, dude. Like I remember when I failed the software company, I had $3,000 in the bank, $60,000 in debt. And my wife's like, you got to get a job. And I literally made basically a deal with the devil and said, give me 3 days to make $3,000 or else I'll get a job. And somehow after a year of not making money, I found $3,000 almost out of thin air in three days, like literally 3 days. I had like 3 days, boom, 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 sold 3 deals. And I was like, why am I not doing that already? So here's the question. Here's the question I have. Because I know there's somebody out there, and you also mentioned something about comfort. The problem with a lot of people listening to this call right now, or that will listen to this call, is they have just enough, right? Because the people that are in the situation where they're not comfortable, where it's very, very uncomfortable, where they don't even have, they're saying no to opportunities, like it's very painful. Those people are taking action because they have to. The ones that I fear the most for on this call are the ones making 6 to 10 to 15 grand a month at a 9-to-5 job. Because what's going to happen is you're going to wake up and it's 10 years is going to be gone and you're going to be no further ahead. And one day you're either going to get sacked, you're going to burn out, or you're going to realize that you just wasted 10 years building someone else's dream and you've moved no further ahead. You've gotten a couple of watches or a car, some nice clothes, been on a few vacations, but you've built nothing and you've done nothing to change anything. That's the people I'm most scared for. How do you, as somebody that is comfortable, I know that's contextual. I know that is also opinion, but somebody that's comfortable, like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, sure. It'd be nice, but everything's taken care of. How do you get uncomfortable without waiting for it to happen and without getting punched right in the freaking mouth?
Yeah, I mean, like for me, it's like, again, right now I'm fully comfortable, right? And for me to do that is just, I ignore the comfort and I say, again, every single day is to do this, to move forward. I don't have a G-Wagon in my garage. I'm not comfortable. That's not comfortable with me. I want a G-Wagon and I don't have it yet, right?
Good.
So it depends on like your level of comfort, right? And just like Grant, what you said is perfect. It's just like Grant Cardone says, right? You're good, you're good, you're good. Well, you're good until you're not, because one day the floor is going to drop and then you're not going to be good anymore. So by being comfortable, you know, it's all about a mindset. He says opinionated, but being comfortable, depending on what your comfort level is, right? I think that's what really matters, because you could just be getting by and be like, hey, I'm comfortable. And some people are happy like that. But the problem is when the floor falls out, what's going to happen to you?
Facts. You know what else
Right?
I think it is? As you've said that, something just clicked in my mind. You're comfortable because you think you're doing well compared to what? You know what I'm saying? Like compared to who?
Yeah.
And the problem is, like you just mentioned, is that you think you're killing it. Oh, I got a G-Wagon. Awesome. Amongst my high school buddies, I'm doing well. Yeah, dude, you're like fish turd compared to the big dogs. Like you're not even to the point where they would even like, you're not even worth talking about. And so that comes the point of like, the difference is standards. You need to raise your standards, right? How do you raise your standards? How do you become uncomfortable? I got a quick, really, really quick way that just came to me, which I've known, I just never didn't connect the dots. Get around people that are doing big things. Get around people that are making 100K a month, that are making $1 million a month, that are whatever. Go book a trip with somebody who's making $2 million a month, and watch every time you guys go to eat. Just go ahead and watch how many times you flinched during your vacation and realize, okay, this is another league, right? You want to get uncomfortable, get whatever that looks like. Maybe you got to go and work for free for some big millionaire. Maybe you got to join something. Get around people doing way more than you. That will make you uncomfortable. And it's done that for me. I don't know if you've seen that same thing, but dude, just being around people that are making like ridiculous money, I realize how little I'm doing.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, you always want to have mentors that are way further ahead of you, right? Or even not even mentors, but peers. You want to surround yourself by it, because I'll tell you, years ago, I was surrounded by people that I would kind of consider losers, right? They don't have any ambitions, no goals. And if you surround yourself with those people, it's going to become you. You're just going to be the same kind of person. And then you're going to compare yourself. Like you said, you compare yourself to them and you're killing it, right? You're killing it. But then you compare yourself to somebody like you, or somebody that's much further ahead than you. Then, like you said, that would make you uncomfortable. So I do agree with exactly.
And it's a little intimidating. 2 weeks ago, the guy that owns this compound that I'm living at, he's supposedly the richest guy in this country that I'm at. And I told him, I found out, we went and had lunch together, and he said he had some real estate that he wanted to show me. So we went around for a couple hours, and we go to this property. It's like 4 acres. It's literally a resort he's building. And I said, how much have you put into this already? And he said, about 14.5 million so far, cash. Because dude, the thing over here, you don't use the banks, right? You can't use a bank because they just don't trust you. So there's no bank loans. 14 million cash, which means in the US or somewhere else, that would get you $100 million loan. The dude has got some flow. And I'm like, whoa, dude, like I'm over here thinking I'm freaking crushing it, making, a couple $100,000 a month, and I'm, biggest swinging dick in town. It's like, dude, you got to start growing up here, bro. So I think whatever that looks like, and I'm not a fan of masterminds. Trust me, I'm the anti-mastermind. But whatever that looks like, maybe it's getting a group of guys together and going out and getting together and talking, or doing a Zoom call, or there's different ways that you can do it, but you got to get around people doing more than you, or you're going to stay comfortable. And I'm telling you, Ryan's been there. I've been there. Comfort, it's not just a cute saying. It will kill you, and it will kill you because you'll have regret, and regret is the thing that just never leaves your mind, dude. It's so miserable.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, even like what I'm looking at right now is, you know, whatever I did so much this last month, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I'm still, to me, I still feel uncomfortable because there's so much further that I can go to that I'm still feeling uncomfortable, which is great, right? And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a goal, or surrounding yourself, or putting yourself where you don't have a choice, right? Just like I said, when I started, I didn't have a choice. Success was my only option, because if I didn't, then me and my family.
I've been there, dude. It's true. People are scared, though. People are scared to put themselves in that position. Heaven forbid you put a little pressure on yourself. Heaven forbid you spend a little bit of money and commit to something. That's the biggest reason why, like, people have success when they join programs, dude. They join programs, and a lot of the times it's because they're like, dude, I just spent X amount of dollars. I better make this work, or I'm going to I'm never going to hear the end of it from my wife or my husband or whatever. So, dude, so many freaking gems, dude. So from zero, when you started in 2019, you're at $23,000 per month, living a full-time job, allowing your wife to be a stay-at-home mom to raise the kids. You've got a 3,000 square foot house with a pool in the city you want to live in. And dude, more than anything, bro, and I say this to a lot of people, but my favorite thing about doing these calls is watching the difference in the confidence of even when we talked last time to now. You're a completely different person. You're a $23,000 a month guy now, dude. You're not, small fries anymore. It's like, okay, now we're leveling up. You're making $250,000 a year on your business. That's no small feat, dude. Most businesses just go out of business. You're making $250,000. So anyway, bro, hats off to you. I'm excited to see what the rest of the year has. I got a couple of questions real quick that people have asked. We'll just do 2 or 3. Could you have 2 minutes?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Tyler Struhl says, well, first of all, Chris Paul says, Nick Wood, can you please write the site? And I think what he's saying is, I told everyone at the beginning, we have a free rentsimplesites.com. We have a free training that you guys can access. It's called rentsimplesites.com. You can check out the training and get an idea for the business model and what it looks like. Obviously there's going to be a lot of questions, but it gives you a good idea, and it is good content. So that's what he's asking. Okay. I missed the beginning, but question, did you write these things down with a timeline in mind or left it open-ended? Yes, Tyler, he's talking about the perfect day. I wrote it with a timeline in mind, and at the top of it, I put the date. So I said, and I wrote it as if it happened today. And it was, so for example, I would put April 12th, 2024. Today I woke up at, and I wrote it like that. And it came to pass 2 years later. Christian says, awesome energy, Nick. I wish I could find a business partner with the same energy that wants to go for it. Why do you need a business partner? You don't need a business partner. Yeah. Do you have a business partner?
That's one thing I'll touch base on right away. Please. Is last year. So again, I started with somebody last year, and the guy, we just didn't work out because we missed eye to eye. Highly recommend, don't get a partner. Do it 100% on your own. It was the second time that I did it, and it's done nothing but just slow me down in my process. So my recommendation to everybody that's on here is, you don't need a partner for this process. One thing that I will say is like, for me, I have a lot of VAs that work for me, outsource out a lot of the work, but the actual part of the process is really just the sales part of it. You don't need a partner for you to go sell something. So I would recommend to everyone in here not to have a partner.
I think that the right partner can definitely be beneficial, can definitely help you go further. But as Ryan said, I currently do not have partners. I'm not I'm not saying that I never will, but until I find something that I absolutely need someone to do, that I can, that me getting them as a partner makes more sense than me paying them on a salary or an hourly. Why would I give away a chunk of my company? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying I'll never do it. I am partners in a couple, in like a real estate property. I own a percentage of another company, but my businesses I own, and you guys can go very, very, very far. You can make millions of dollars. I've proved it with no partners. You just hire, for example, I hired Francesca. She basically is a partner. I tell her to tell people she's my partner. She doesn't own any other company, but I tell her to tell people she's the partner so that she gets through more doors. But she does everything that a technical partner could do, and I just pay her a salary, and she doesn't have any decision-making power. And she could override me or take part of my company. So you don't need a partner. If you have one, it's not like it's bad, but be very careful. As Ryan said, I've already had a bad experience when I
Yeah, and again, I said I recommend not having a partner. I will say that if you do get her, just make sure you guys are exactly on the same page and it's the right partner. Make sure that you guys have the exact same, can do the exact same jobs or whatever jobs are needed to be done, and just make sure it makes sense rather than just hiring somebody to get the job done.
That's good advice, dude. And I know what you mean. You're not saying that like if you get one, you're gonna fail. It's just easier to get.
No,
go get to 15, 20, 30K. And then if you need someone to scale, go find one. But like, you don't need one in the beginning unless.
yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people do. And that's kind of what I did, where it's like at the beginning stages. And that's why, and you're thinking that you need a partner right away at the beginning stages. And that's just not true. It should be, like you said, it should almost be the exact opposite. Like maybe when you get to $20,000, $30,000 and now you need help in a certain area and it makes sense to split somehow with somebody, that might make sense. But the very beginning really is learn the process and just, I mean, you have it set up so easily. Just go through the process, use the scripts that are in there, and you're going to get deals. And you don't need somebody else to help you out with that.
I think what happens a lot of times, we have these areas in our business that are our weaknesses, and we think getting a partner is going to solve them. And really it just slows you down. And I'm very protective of my companies and of my, like, I mean, even within the last year, people that knew what I was doing, the kind of revenue I was making, I had multiple people that tried to, that I was paying for other things. Like, what if I just take ownership? And I was like, no, I'd rather pay you. I don't want to have to answer to anybody. I don't want investors. I don't want your money. I don't want to have to answer to anybody. Again, I think to build massive, massive companies, I think that it maybe could be easier with partners. We're talking about, 20, 30, $100 million companies. You can go make $1 million company on your own and go hire everything out. So great advice.
Yep. And I agree with that. I just think that in lead gen and rank and rent, that it's
totally
this industry. I don't think that's it. 100%. I'm not against partners, right? When you're doing real estate and stuff like that, it makes sense to have the partners.
100%, dude. Do you either of you have ads running that you just can't seem to get away from because you can't get the website ranked above the competition? I personally do not. There's sites that I have ads that are running and I'm ranked because I'm making a juicy chunk of money and I want to keep the client happy. And I'm like, hey, what's a couple $100 if I can keep making $3,500 a month? But that's just a due diligence issue, my friend. Christian, if you had your due diligence process dialed, that would not be an issue. But I mean, at the end of the day, what do you have anything like that? I mean, I'm so strict about what I'll say yes to on a city. I'll go through 20 cities to find one. I'll go through 50 to find one because I know how bad it sucks to go to the wrong city and spend all of your time, energy, money, effort trying to rank. It sucks, dude.
Yeah, I understand that. Again, I've been in a lot of groups. It wasn't just JK. I've been in a lot of SEO groups. I spent a lot of time learning at SEO, which is kind of what I said in the post, where don't waste your time on that. Waste your time on doing the sales part of it. I didn't know that when I was younger, right? So what I would say is if your SEO process is there and you did your due diligence properly, then it's going to rank. I think a lot of people probably within this group, maybe your SEO process isn't correct, right? Your backlinking and how you're setting up your websites, that could be the issue. It might not be a due diligence issue, but again, maybe it will. I'm a little bit opposite. This is where I don't do the same as your process. I'm very aggressive. I'm not afraid to pull a trigger on a location, because I know if I could sign a client, again, I've been doing SEO. I know all the, not all of them, but I know a lot of the SEO strategies. I know how to rank a website. So if I do take a little bit okay with it, if I could sign for $2,000 a month, my ads are $608 a month. I'm still pulling out $1,400 and reinvesting a little bit into the SEO process, but I'm still making money during that process, and it takes me a year to rank it. Then I can start pulling the ads back. That's fine. So I would say for this person, it's either maybe your SEO, how you're doing your SEO, maybe you don't have the right strategies. And I know that I haven't watched your videos on the actual SEO yet, but I'm sure that it's good. So if you follow Nick's process on how to do SEO, then you should be ranking it. But if you're not following the process and all the SEO strategies, there's a lot that has to do with search engine optimization. I think a lot of people think that it's super simple, where it's like you throw up a little website and you run backlinks to it and you're going to rank. And that's just not the case. There's a lot more to it. You get citations and it's going to rank. And there's a lot more that has to go into it. And all the work can be outsourced. It's just knowing which strategies to use.
Yeah. And to clarify, when we were going in 2020, I was the exact same way as you, in that, like, dude, if it looked remotely good, we were sending it. Because here's the thing, Christian, I think it was Christian that asked that question. Yeah. Is like Ryan said, if you are confident in your SEO process, then if you get the $2,000 deal, you're spending $600 in ads, you're making, let's say, $1,500 or $1,400 or $1,200 or whatever net. Even if it takes a year to rank, you're still making money. That's the beauty of it. And so, but then what you find out is once you do, and so by the way, I did a ton of those, and that's when 2020, 2021. But when you find those layups, dude, when you find the ones where it's like you put it up, you do a little SEO, and all of a sudden you have that $2,000 deal, you're making $1,890 or $1,900 out of 2,000. You're like, okay. And it only took you 4.5 months to rank. Once you get to a certain level of income, you start to get a little more picky, because you're like, well, instead of dealing with that, managing one more project, let me just cherry pick the good ones. So as you're scaling, as you're hustling, I was in that exact same spot, and I don't think that's bad advice at all. Like, and Christian, the question is, what does it matter? Keep doing SEO. And then what Ryan said, you might not have an SEO process. Have you been in a program that taught you one, or are you just taking stuff off of freaking, what's that guy's name that teaches? I mean, Neil Patel. It's like, cool. That's why, dude. Me and Ryan have bought, I don't know how many programs. We've taken stuff from this one. We've taken stuff from this one, stuff from this one. It's a $20,000-$30,000 education that we've learned. That's how come we know how to rank the sites. So,
yeah, exactly. And what I would recommend to everybody is that if you don't know the SEO and you want to get away from ads, if you're charging somebody $2,000 per month and you're only using $608, what are you doing with that $1,400? Outsource it. If you want to get away from the ads, outsource it, get the site ranked. I mean, I can give a bunch of people, a couple of companies that I've used that have done a great job. And you can have them do all the work. It's going to cost you $500 or $600 per month. But then in 3 months, when your site's ranking, you can pull your ads back. If that's what you want to do, you can always outsource that process. And if you do know the SEO process, what I would recommend doing is get a VA and have them do the work. Don't do the work yourself, because you should be focusing on sales.
100%. Awesome. Well, last thing I want to touch on, Christian said, well said. By the way, Carlos, I see your question. Kyle, I just responded to you on your recommendation for a VA, but Christian said, it is the cold calling part that has me timid. Just need to get over it. Guys, do not give up half of your business, half of your profit, because you don't want to cold call. I understand you're feeling timid. I understand it's the scary part, but until you pony up and go do it and learn how to do it, you will always be at the mercy of your partner that does it, or your sales guy. Your sales guy comes in and you're like, I got an awesome sales guy. What happens when your sales guy leaves? What happens when your sales guy wants more commission? you will be, your growth will be capped. Your growth will be stunted based on what your sales guy decides to do or not to do. And so even though you don't need to be a 10 out of 10 salesperson, you need to be able to get deals so that you can train somebody to get deals. And I know it's not what you want to hear. And I wish there was a magic bullet. You could just sign up for an email campaign and a little widget and whatever, and it would just automatically do the sales for you. That's why salespeople make so much money, is because nobody wants to do it. So
yeah,
go ahead.
For me on that is, I'm an introvert, right? And that was when I started your program. My one thing was the cold calling. I did not like to do the cold calling. I was always super nervous. And I'll tell you right now, after you do 1,000 cold calls, it's nothing. It's not a big deal. Make the phone call. And I'll tell you what too, if you want to make yourself feel really good for the day. So I set up on Mondays. Monday morning, first thing I do, because I already have ads running for the next week coming up. On Monday morning, I sit around for about 4 hours hitting the phones. And I'll tell you what feels the best, almost better than the sale, is getting that prospect and be like, this is it. I got the right guy. And you're going to feel great after you do that. And then you're like, why didn't I want to make these phone calls? Because by the time that when you get that phone call, you're going to feel amazing. So definitely just hit the phones. And I agree with you. It's by far the best way of doing of contacting the business owner. It's something that people don't want to do, and it's going to get you the most sales, and it's going to save you time and money from doing like Facebook messengers and all this other ways of doing it. You're just going to get crappy prospects, and you're not going to be able to actually put yourself out there.
Dude, I love that. Guys, that is why Ryan is moving the needle. He just, if you guys picked up on that, if you're paying attention, he wakes up Monday morning, the most important day of the week, morning time, most important part of the day. And what does he spend his time doing? Cold calling, doing the one thing that everybody avoids, doing the one thing that everyone tries to do, email campaigns and messenger and text message and this and that and Facebook ads. And it's like, all you have to do is pick up the phone, call the right person, have a conversation, because we are humans, and go and get them hooked. And I've seen Ryan go from somebody who, you know why Ryan's tried a couple partners? Because he was trying to avoid the sales, dude. It's what everybody does. Everyone wants to get, look, I just need to get someone to do sales. So does everybody. Why not just become the person that can do it and start getting the deals and learning how to do it? Then you can train somebody how to do it. It's not that difficult. It's been really fulfilling to watch the different types of people come through the program that aren't the sales type, that are the introvert type, that are the this type or the that type, or they didn't think they could get a sale because their English isn't perfect, or this or that, or their what, and watch these people just ink deals and get that satisfaction, that confidence of like, dude, I can do this. And Christian, it's going to be so much better when you get that deal, because it terrifies you, which I love that you're just upfront about that. It's going to feel so good to know that you just did that. And if you can get a deal by cold calling, which by the way, doesn't really feel like cold calling the way that we do it, but if you can get a deal like that, you can do anything. It'll give you tremendous confidence. I've seen Ryan go from being an introvert, I'd like to sit behind a keyboard and barely squeaking by, to now he's doing $23,000 a month, spending 4 hours Monday mornings freaking smashing the phones, which he was terrified to do 12 months ago or 18 months ago. So hats off to you, bro. Love it, bro.